Have you ever heard the phrase, nothing ever tastes as good as slim feels? Well, let me tell you, I know exactly what that means now. This video is going to be about my old journey, and clearly I'm not there again now, but I am on my way. So I am Sam, and this is my channel, Be Positive Sam. Welcome all my new subscribers and old subscribers, everybody that's obviously we're all in this same boat together. You know, we're trying to lose weight. Now, I am a 50-year-old mum. I just have to, you know, my family comes first, but it's about time that, you know, I put myself first again. I did it a couple of years ago and other things got in the way, which I will tell you about later on. And now with willpower, I've got my willpower back, and I will get there again. Okay, I might not be as thin as I was, because that was, you know, about 5 years ago now. So let's get started. Now, I said to you in my last video that I lost my Slimming Well book, and I put it in a safe place. Do you remember? Well, I found it. So since my daughter's moved back, I had to clear out my craft room, and there's a lot of my things that are stored under her bed, and it was under the bed, so I knew it was in a safe place. So I'll just go through it with you quickly. So this was my book. I made this book. I put the ring binder on it. I laminated some sheets to make a cover, because when I was getting my stickers from before, what was happening was, I don't know if you can see that, which ones are they? Especially these slimmer ones, these older ones, they were wearing off. So I thought I'd put a cover on it. Sad, it could be sad, but hey, this book at the time was like a Bible to me. I read every quote and quip and everything. I've got things that I wouldn't eat, so I know I'm never going to look at that, so that's all crossed out. And for for example, there's things highlighted. It's my book. If I want to scribble on it, if I want to highlight it, that's what I did. But what some people don't realise was that so for example, within this sin section that there was in the book, here for example, the little, people probably don't even read that, but for example, that says, picture yourself making the right choices. Visualise the next time you will have to decide yes or no, and see yourself making the right decisions. Good picture equals good weight loss. So inside on these pages, there's little quotes, and I read through them all. Now, I have had umpteen books of these, on, off, throughout the years. But for some unknown reason, I decided on this particular journey to sit down and actually read the book, rather than using it as a weigh-in book. I started Slimming World on the journey that worked on the 1st of October 15. Now, I had lost weight before then, because I was 18.5 stone before I joined here, and I went to the doctors, and I had to go. I went because my legs had swollen up. They gave me. I had to go for a scan, and then the scan came back saying that I had a fatty liver. Now, at that time, I thought, of course it's a fatty liver. I'm fat. So not really understanding what it was, until she sat me down and she said, you will not see your grandchildren if you carry on the way you're going. You will not see your grandchildren, and you will not see your children grow up to be adults. Now, at the time, my kids were at school, and sort of the oldest one was about 16 at the time, and that was it. This big thing came over me, and I thought, well, there's only one person that's making myself be like this, and that's me, by putting the food in my mouth. You know, it was me just sitting there, and I was in control. And then the other thing I was thinking was, well, if I was eating like that, the kids were eating the same. And so I knew something had to stop. So that was the initial turning point in my life to starting weight loss. And so I did it through the doctor, and I lost a few stone, as you can see. But then the weight started going back up, and I needed extra help. So I joined Slimming World. So this group, the first group I joined, she left. The consultant just left, and I was so nervous about starting, because it was literally, I was sitting there eating tea, and I just said to my husband, I'm going slimming. And he said, well, you're eating tea. And I was like, yeah, I know, but I'm going slimming. I'm going again. And he was like, oh, yeah, right. And I said, no, I'm going now. I said, if I don't go now, I'll never go. And so I went and joined the group just down the road. But about 2 weeks later, she just left. But what she did before she left, on the first weigh day, she gave me an old magazine. She just gave them away. And she said it will help with the first, you know, just to get you started, to get you into it. And I thought it was really nice of her. And to be honest, I've still got the book. It's one of the better magazines I've ever had, to be honest, because we're very much a comfort sort of pork chop roast dinner type people. We're not into, you know, salmon and guacamole and all stuff like that. We are just normal, basic, you know, meat, veg, potatoes type people. I mean, I'm a dustbin. I eat everything. Well, I don't eat shellfish, but so anyway, so I found that magazine by her giving me an old magazine, you know, and it was a few years old. I found that really helped me. And anyway, she left a couple of weeks later, and so I had to find another group. And then the group that I found is the one that I go to now, Wendy in Hayward Heath. It's a fab group. It's a group that, when you read in the magazines and they say, you know, yeah, they walked in and everyone was friendly and it was exactly that. It was a taster, which is when I said in one of my earlier, I think in my very first video, you know, deja vu. It's sort of like, wow, it was exactly the same. I walked in this time and it was a taster, and I walked in that group and it was a taster, and I thought, this is obviously me meant to be back on my track once again. Going back to this book. So I didn't change this until quite at the last minute. And then inside, what I did is I put note paper in it. You know, I didn't write a lot. And I also put photos of, now some of these photos I'll probably put up clearer. But these were, so I put a date on them. These photos kept me going. They were in my book every week, just to keep me going. I wrote down measurements. The things come out. So, as I say, it was a journal, and I made it into a journal as far as I was concerned. And I put extra, because I'd been there for quite a long time, I then put extra pages in. I found a book that I hadn't used, you know, because I was planning on going forever. So what happened? Well, what can I say? I started my journey. Like I said just a minute ago, I had a fatty liver. I had no idea that the inside of me was so bad. Because you look at the outside, and I've touched on this on another video, but you can't see what's on the inside. You cannot see it. And so I just took it that if I concentrated on eating healthily on the inside, the outside will, in the end, show. And it did. And it certainly did. And that's just how I kept going all the time. So I started in October, and my target was, because the first consultant said that I had to make a target, and I didn't really want to, but she said I had to. So I just plucked out 12 stone out of my head. I didn't even think I was going to get there. But in my head, my target, as I was a 17.5, my first target was to get in my 16 stones. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to do that, which I achieved on my first week. I achieved with a 2.5 pound I lost on my first week. The second week was £3, so I was then well into my 16.10 and so forth. And the third week I got my half a stone award, and that's what I then did. So then my next half a stone was 16.1. Then my target was to get into my 15s, and that is how I take it today. That is what I did before. That is what I'm doing today. So when you hear me say I've got little targets, they are my little targets, because I've set myself 12 stone again, but that's just quite a way off. I weigh just over 15 stone, and to me 12 stone is still a very long way away. So I haven't put the weight on to the nearly 19 stone, but I'm not far. I wasn't, as far as I was concerned, I wasn't far away from it. But I did make a sort of a semi target. So as I say, that was October, and I knew that we had a weigh day on Christmas Eve, and I wanted my Club 10 for Christmas Eve. And we got given these type of, which you've probably seen in group. And I wrote, this one particular isn't it. I don't know where my other one is. And I wrote, I wanted my Club 10 on, I'm just having a look through this book. No, it's not there. On Christmas Eve. And I achieved it. And I was absolutely ecstatic. Which then meant that I had lost the Club 10, 1 stone, 10 pounds. So I was pretty chuffed with that. Not going to lie. And that was on the Christmas Eve. And then over that Christmas, because I'd achieved my target, I was very, very good. And I actually only put on £1 over the Christmas period. So I was quite pleased with that. Then over the New Year, I'd lost £2. But I'm telling you, it was tough, that Christmas. I look back now and I think, oh, I chopped up hi-fi bars. I weighed, I measured absolutely everything over Christmas. And yes, I had a good Christmas, but it wasn't indulgent Christmas. But it was a Christmas that, I did enjoy it. But what had happened now is it had become an addiction to lose weight. I was stepping on scales all the time. And it was just, I just lived, breathed, ate, simmered. I used to, my body magic, I was out all the time, and it took a lot of my energy. Now the thing is with these, it doesn't matter what diet or healthy eating plan you choose, you have to do it 100%. In this set, and I keep going back from one to the other, but this time round, when not this particular, since I've been here, I've been totally focused. But a couple of months ago, I was only doing it half-heartedly. I still want to live a life, and I want to lose weight. Yes, you can live life, but you can't lose weight if you're going to go out eating curries every Friday night and poppadoms, naan breads and high fat, KFCs or whatever. You can't, you've got to be focused at the end of the day. I'm not going to lie. You've got to be focused and you've got to be true to yourself. What is it that I want? Now I want to lose weight. So at the moment, my willpower is up here. It's up here. And I feel a bit like I was last time. I don't want it to become an addiction. But in the other hand, is it going to do me any harm for it to be an addiction? To eat healthily? I can't see the wrong in that, to be honest. But I used to say to my husband, oh, I can't lose weight. I haven't got the energy. And this time, I'm back here, and I've got the energy. I'm gunning for it. So I sat the kids down and my husband, and I said, right, I've got to make this work. I won't be around if, the doctors told me I won't be around if we don't make this work. It was a little bit frightening to speak, but they all jumped on board. And I said to them, if you see me going in the cupboard, I said, you have my permission to shout at me, and slam the cupboard shut and say, Mum, life is more important than a chocolate biscuit. Because I could eat packets of biscuits and not even realise I've ate them. I used to dunk, and they used to be gone. But I don't remember eating them, and that was quite scary. So that's basically my book. So then, to help me get motivated, my husband, and I know not everybody's got this, but my husband, and I don't think he thought I was going to do it. He said to me, every stone you lose, I will give you £100. Well, I thought there's a challenge. Now, you'll remember, I've been going on and off for donkey's years. And, like you lose half a stone and then you put on £3, then you lose £2. And I never actually ever got to that stone, even though I'd been going for 3 months. I never actually ever got to a stone. And I think he thought it was going to be the same. So he said, no. He said, come on. He said, I'll give you £100. And we're not wealthy at all. And he said, I'll give you £100 if when you get to your stone. Not if, when you get to your stone. So I was like, okay. So we shook on it, Anyway, I got to my first stone. And I said to him, you do realise you owe me £100, don't you? And he was like, oh, God. And he said, I suppose you want it now. And I was like, no, I'm going to save it. Can you put it in a bank or, wherever? I said, and then if I can get to 2 stone, then I'll probably have it. So I was like, so I said, oh, okay. Anyway, I forgot to mention it. So stone. And it got to about 5, it got to 5 stone. And I said to him, you do realise I've lost 5 stone, don't you? I said, that's £500 you owe me. He was like, what? Oh my God, he said. I said, have you not been saving it then? And he was like, no. I was like, oh. So I felt a bit, like, oh God, he's meant to have been saving this. But he had really, he was just lying. And so I said to him, right, well, hold that 500 because I'm going to change my target to 6 stone. And he's like, right. And I said, and with that 6 stone, I want a summer house. So I'm going to get that 6 stone and I'm going to I want you to buy me a summer house. Now, I know you can't buy a brand new one for £600. But I was willing to have a second-hand one. And so I got the 6 stone, and then we went and got my summer house. So I will show you pictures of my summer house. So when I sometimes mention, people say, you might see in the comments, oh, have you still got your summer house? Because I used to do my vlogs like I do today in my summer house. And like I say, it's full up at the moment because my daughter's moved back. I got my summer house. Now, when did I lose 6 stone? Let's have a look. 6 stone was on the 30th of the 3rd, 17. So that's when I got it. So it didn't take me long to, from the 1st of October, which was in the 15th. So it's just over, just over a year. And so I got my summer house. Now, my summer house, I love my summer house. I decorate the outside of it to the seasons. I'll probably put some vlogs on here later on, but I'll show you pictures. Christmas is my favourite. I put a Christmas tree outside and decorate it. I make the decorations to be outside, and the same with Easter and Halloween. But Anyway, I'll show you the pictures will be up. And so that was then. So then I stayed at Target, bumped in and out of Target, but, you know, I was sort of, I never went back up to 12 stone. You know, it was always sort of 11 to 11 and a half until I left on the 29th of the 11th, whatever year that was, 18, I think that was 19. So, you know, I did keep it off. But as I say, it became an addiction. But the other thing what happened is I had to, I started getting bad stomach. Because I don't know what it was. I think it's eggs. So I can't eat a lot of eggs. I had to have celiac tests. I had to have an endoscopy. And all sorts. I had to have, oh God, what are they called? An MRI. And drink this disgusting drink. And I just couldn't keep anything in. Everything was being rejected. Up, down, wherever. And it became, I was a little bit worried about that. And I was sort of trying to work out myself what it was. And then it just stopped. So I don't know if it was an anxiety thing as well. I never did ever find out what it actually was. But I personally think it was an anxiety thing and too many eggs. Not too many eggs, but yeah, if like I was eating quiches and then you know, they say, oh, eat boiled eggs. I can't just eat boiled eggs. They do, and if I eat a lot of quiche, it makes me poorly. But I can eat a little bit, and I think it was that. So at the end of, I'd reached my 6 stone and whatnot, which was actually more than 6 stone because, you know, I was nearly 19 stone when I started before Slimming World. I then found a lump in one of my breasts, and I can't begin to tell you, and I know there's people probably here watching that's been through the same. I can't believe, or have actually been going through worse than what I went through. I can't believe how devastating that and scary that was. I tried so hard to be healthy, you know, fitter, leaner in the inside. I was more confident. And everything was just, and then I found this, and my life just came crashing back down. And anyway, so I had to go to I didn't even tell my partner, my husband actually, and I went to the doctors quietly about it, and then I had to go down to the breast clinic. Then obviously I told him, and he's so supportive, love him, he really is. Anyway, it was, I told him my story. I'd lost, you know, about seven odd stone, and they done a biopsy and everything was okay. It was what they called a mouse. I can't remember the proper word for it because my brain went. So basically it was a cyst that was moving about, and it was about 2 centimeters big, and they told me that it wouldn't get any bigger, but I had to keep my eye on it. But because it was there and I'd lost a lot of weight, I could see it sticking out, and I hated it, absolutely hated it. You know, I'm talking about over a couple of weeks. So then I started putting on weight, and I think psychologically I was putting on weight to hide the lump that I didn't like or see, and in the back of it you try to do it, but in the back of your mind you think, is it going to change? Is it going to change? Is it, you know? And anyway, that's what happened there. And then just before COVID, the lump had grown. To be perfectly honest, it was quite big, and they told me that it wouldn't grow. So I went back to the breast clinic, and they checked it, and they said, no, everything's as it was. But because it's grown, would I like it removed? And the other thing that had happened is that my breasts had become super painful, like ache. And I think this is all part of my menopause now, but they suggested to me to cut out caffeine because the caffeine does something to the estrogen. And so I cut out caffeine. I can't begin to tell you how poorly I felt after that. I drink a lot of tea, and I don't drink particularly a lot of coffee, but tea I do drink a lot of. And I felt poorly for about 6 weeks. I felt like somebody had hit me with a bus. I remember thinking to myself, well, if not drinking caffeine is supposed to be good for you and I feel like this, then I'm going to start drinking it. But obviously it was like a bit of a cold turkey type thing. So anyway, I don't drink caffeine now. So I've got caffeine cola, caffeine tea, caffeine-free cola, caffeine-free tea, and I do drink decaf coffee. Then they put me in for the operation. Then we had COVID. Now, because my surgery wasn't, you know, it wasn't cancerous. I totally get that. And they said to me, you know, do you mind, you will be put on hold? I said, of course. Please, you know, just fit me in if and when you can. As long as I know it's going to happen, you know, there are far more people that are in worse circumstances than me and that need treatment. So I was on the waiting list for quite a while, however long COVID took 2 years. And then I got a phone call to say, at this beginning of this year, because I've been waiting for so long, I could go and have it privately done. And it's the first ever operation I ever had. So in one of my old videos, in one of my first videos, I think it's the very first one, I said I've had operations, bereavement, this, that and the other. And this is the operation that I had to remove the lump. Now, I was a bit scared because I've never had an operation before. I've had children, but I've never had an operation before. And so I had it removed. And you know, it's one of the best relief. You cannot even see I've had it done. It's amazing. And the relief that came off my shoulders to get rid of it. And I said to my husband, right, now, I said, I know in the back of my head, that is what I've been worrying about all the time. So now I feel like I can, you know, start afresh. And that's exactly what I've done. You know, that was it. I then started this year at slimming. I thought, right, that's it. You know, operation finished, this, that, and the other. I'll go back. And then what happened was my daughter's fiance or future son-in-law passed away at the age of 29, and I was to be honest, I'm gonna try and speak without crying. So that knocked us for 6 because he was very supportive of my weight loss. He was always, he even tried it himself, bless him. So anyway, yeah, bless him. And I still find that hard. So now I'm back on it, and because of his death, again, it made me realise life is too short. And again, we don't know what's going on the inside. So so that's gone in my, again, I want to get healthier. Oh, I'm sorry. I need to move on. So now I've tried to condense my weight loss journey. Now, the funny thing is that when I was losing weight last year, the first time, people used to say to me, God, Samantha, you're always eating. And I used to say, and they go, you know, you're losing weight. And I used to say, oh no, it's great, isn't it? And yet I ate less and put on weight. It still baffles me now how this plan works. But I didn't eat uncontrollably. I ate because I was hungry. I ate because I I didn't just, oh, you can eat unlimited pasta. Oh, let me just keep eating it. I ate until, and I've got big appetites, I'm afraid. So you will see in some of the, if you follow me on Instagram or whatever, that I've got quite big dinners. But I can't help it. I get hungry. Providing it's free food, and it, I'm not, I go, am I full or am I Christmas dinner full? And I think, well, if I'm Christmas dinner full, then I've overate. And that's, I hope it's inspired you a little bit. Now now I'm on this second journey, and I feel like I'm focused. I feel like, if, as I say, I'm going to make it, each little snippet, and being on here like it did the first time helped me considerably, and I will keep putting videos up, and I really hope you enjoy them. And I just want to get back to my happy place, and I'm going to show you on just show you quickly. There's a photo of when I lost weight, and it was the kids had grown up by now. You know, they could be left alone. And it was our first holiday, and we went down to Cornwall. Do you know, I felt like a teenager again. I really did. I've got this picture on my wall, and my husband hates it, but I absolutely love it. And if I can find it on my phone, I'll put it in. But I don't know if it's still on there or not. And that's what. So I know we don't do much of this, but I actually did pull it off my phone and print it up because I wanted it on my wall. And it's a picture of me and my husband, and it's on our first holiday together. I just sort of say to him, I want to feel like that. And that is where I know where I've put on weight is when they say in group, nothing tastes as good as being slim feels. I know exactly what that means, because I can't begin to tell you how I felt on that holiday. And it's only a black and white picture, but it means the world to me, and I'll probably end it on there. If you've liked this video, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll probably see you next on weigh day. It will be a weigh day, but I don't know if that'll be my next video or not. It's my life. Let me turn this round and show you. Now, like I say, that was down at St Michael's Mount, and I just said to him, close your eyes. I said, just close your eyes.